That's Billy Drew's right in the middle. This is one of his special projects.
Hello.
Hi, we're just
Check it.
listening. We're listening to some music of
Oh,
yours.
look at this. Oh, wow. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, we're doing good. Beautiful. Under One Sun. This is my guest, Billy Drews. Hi.
Hello. Hello. We got on. We realized it was my daughter came up with the wrong date. It's at today's the 22nd, right?
Today is the 21st.
24. Oh, it said the 20th, so I think that's why it wasn't going.
Oh, you had a different link?
Different date. Yeah, I guess. But we worked, so we're good.
Okay.
Thank
Sorry
you.
about that.
No,
sometimes my mind is bad.
maybe it changed. The computer might have changed Blame it on the computer.
Okay.
It can't talk back. It can only cut us off. How you doing?
I definitely think there are elves around my house, doing weird things because, you know, stuff happens that I can't explain.
Yeah, we were a couple of years ago visiting this really like a Indian, a Native American gentleman up in Pennsylvania. We used to have the house up there, and a great guy, Eagle, elder statesman. And I remember him saying, I hear people coming to the door, he explained all this stuff. Oh yeah, he comes every night and, taps on the door. It's wow, man. I hope it happens tonight or today.
Sometimes I think, I just think we are all looking at other stuff, but there's,
Yeah,
everything's,
who knows?
everybody's here, we just don't, we're not focusing on them.
Right. There's other stuff. Yeah, it's happening, I think, for sure.
Um, Neil Van Eird is here. Hello, Neil. Interesting pedal steel like instrument. What was that? What is that? Obviously, it's a project that you're working on, and it's wonderful and impressive too. Because I guess my impression of you from the past has been that you're a jazz straight ahead player. Not that you can't do other things, but um, it's cool. It's wonderful.
Well, this band, I guess you had. Did you hear the whole CD? Not the whole CD, but
I just heard that whole song.
all right, no, but I mean, there's a whole the CD that we made.
No,
Of
no,
it.
I haven't.
Well, that's that picture, which that's the cover of the CD.
Yeah.
It's my daughter ended up coming creating that. So it's a whole.
So this
Those are
this
some live gigs. Yeah, that there it is. There it is.
under one sun. I see.
And that
So
so they posted some live gigs
yeah.
and that tune you were playing. I don't know. They had three segments. That was the middle segment. And then it goes into this other kind of Brazilian hard hitting feel,
What
which is
ethnic kind of music is this?
well, it's a combination. From Afghanistan, a gentleman from Afghanistan who plays tablas.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Salar Nadar, his name is. He was playing with the bass player, famous bass player recently. And Placito Quintero is playing percussion. Like he
Okay.
had the congas, and he was playing with Chick until Chick passed away,
Oh,
unfortunately.
yeah.
Leo Blanco is from Venezuela, the pianist,
Ah.
and some of his tunes are really incredible. This album was all my music.
Oh.
Uh,
Did I interpret this right? Did I look over the piano shoulder and see one sheet, one page for this piece?
no, couldn't have been.
Okay, so he just didn't stretch it out or
He
something.
didn't stretch it out. He didn't stretch it out. Uh, Leo Blanco is the pianist, really great composer, and you know, coming from Venezuela, the rhythms and the whole concept is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
And then you were asking about it almost looks like a zither. That's his name is Ali Paris, and he plays what they call the canoon, and it's a the origin. I'm not sure if it was. It's a combination of Palestinian and it's an Arabic instrument. Really complicated. He plays it with a thimble on some of his fingers,
Oh.
and it's all quarter tones.
Oh.
And he sings. You got to hear the record because you hear his voice really come out, and he sings quarter tones too.
Oh.
So because I did all these people. Jamie Haddad, who was he was at the drum set, also a percussionist in his own right for sure, and he's been playing with Paul Simon for the last 15 years or
Oh,
something as a percussionist.
okay.
So he kind of
Yeah.
has my back and always saying, "You got to record your music." I'm going, "Well, we'll get to it sometime." So he kind of put the whole thing together.
So
These
you
people.
wrote did you kind of write for this group, or did you write and then this group kind of formed around you?
I wrote about half the stuff for this group,
Uh-huh.
and a couple things I had, like the opening song, I extended. I kept getting. It originally was one page, and then people have. I remember this tune was one page, and I don't usually do that, but it became like a suite in a sense, but in one tune,
Yeah.
and so that's the opening tune, and yeah, it's got the flavor because when I changed when I added on, uh, I thought about this band. So it's an international band, if you will, in a sense.
And is
And
the band was started before this all happened?
no, no, no.
Okay, okay.
Kind of Jamie and I and different and
I see.
so kind of put together and
So the demand for the instruments brought the musicians in.
yeah, well, just we had played Jamie and I had played with these folks because I was lucky enough through the years to play some Arabic music and with one particular virtuoso, Simone Shaheen,
Oh,
who's extraordinary oud player and violin.
oh,
Right, incredible on those instruments. He's like the one of the guys, oud players, just unbelievable. So, uh, being lucky enough to be part of those gigs and concerts were really eye-opening. So, so all that stuff, the culmination of us playing with different people. You're lucky enough to play with some uh, incredible musicians from India. It's all humbling because you
hmm.
feel like you're just scratching the surface of Arabic music, of Indian music. Me anyway.
Yeah, yeah, they're so
Oh,
competent and
really,
incredible.
the Indian music is just really humbling. It's
Yeah.
so, but lucky enough to have done that, and those influences come out. So there was one tune I wrote years ago. When that it oh, let's go. It's a tune in seven. That pattern, like almost like minimalist. Not that I was that into that stuff, but a guy like Philip Glass created that. He kind of stayed with that concept. But so that tune kind of came out of that, and it worked because of the tabla and these incredible percussionists. And Michael Ward Bergman is the accordion player. What's that say?
I never know.
Accordion player,
I never know.
accordion guy.
Yeah.
So he lives down in New Orleans. He again was like myself, was originally from Long Island, but
Oh,
he went up to Boston to Berkeley
yeah,
and uh, and came out and met all these people. Jamie at the time was Jamie Haddad, the percussionist, was
yeah,
teaching there at the time. So
yeah.
he met, you meet in this college scene and those college age folks that you meet. They don't have to be in college, but it's incredible. It's really inspiring to be around it. And all of a sudden you hear some new stuff, and they hear it and they go, "I want to get more of that."
Yeah.
So, uh, and Roberto Acapinki is from bass player from Canada, from Toronto. Beautiful player, really brought in and helped a lot of Cuban musicians find not find their voice, but give them a pathway by playing with him
Yeah.
and just knowing him. He knowing the incredible talent that these different musicians had from somehow they from Cuba and a lot ended up in Toronto and Canada And he's a wonderful bass player, Roberto, and a beautiful guy, and helped with the production a lot of the records. So it's really proud of it, and yeah.
Quite the project. So this begs the question to me, where where do you book this group? I mean, is there
Large, I know.
how do you
Well, we it's
find who wants to have this? I mean, yeah, I'm just curious.
well the last one, not one of the last gigs we did, but it's big. At
Yeah.
one point, we did a concert in I I forget what it was, maybe Detroit. I should know, but and we were going back to Cleveland because Jamie had that roots there, and we were going to do a couple big concerts there. But some of the guys couldn't come, so I wrote music. We did a TV spot, an hour spot. So I played piano and saxophone, and just Michael played accordion and Jamie played percussion. We did a trio thing.
Oh my God.
We just because the other guys couldn't, and it turned out like, wow, we should do more of this.
I can imagine that
So
would be really nice.
yeah, that's on my website too. If you could find it. It's kind of nice, just
Yeah.
I mean, we always look at it. Well, I could have done better, but as a piano, I don't go out and play that much. I've used almost everything I could do a little bit with different things, you
Yeah.
know.
Are you
But
are
go
you
ahead.
more of a woodwind player than a pianist?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay. And you play drums as well, right?
yeah. Drums and percussion
Yeah.
and write a lot, you know.
So, it seems a little thin of me to say, oh, you're so expanded into other areas, but well, I like I said, I always just kind of knew of you as more of a straight ahead player. So has your career been this balanced all along in
Uh,
styles?
in different styles. Is it
Yeah.
you cut out? I couldn't.
Yes, in different styles.
Yeah, I've always been. Yeah, yeah, I think so. I've been lucky enough to do a lot of different things, a lot
Yeah.
of different avenues. That's kind of the thing. Like I'm sure a lot of artists, musicians, uh, just different genres. You try to connect everything,
Yeah.
I think. So you don't really think of it as. Uh, I mean, I had a student a couple of days ago, and he was talking about classical music. I said, "All right, let's each write for next week a short classical, if you will, piece." So I just this morning or last night late, I wrote my piece, and so you try to combine it. That's the world music thing, I guess, where that kind of came out of.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't really use classical, but it all is there. If you can bring it together. So it's been a thing. 'Cause I haven't really. There's a bunch of records that we did featuring a lot of my music, uh, but I haven't actually made with my name. And part of it is because I haven't. I don't think I found it yet. That thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, yeah, that thing where I want to go. This is it, and actually have the nerve or the balls to go to a. You can't go to a record company anymore. But if it was still existent, go. You got to have that attitude, like almost like this is the shit.
yeah.
And I never, I felt like it was always some really nice stuff. But it's almost like keep working. Maybe if I make it to 90, maybe I'll found it. Or probably not, but it's kind of stupid, in a way. But I mean,
What's
honestly,
stupid?
that's
You mean
no,
that idea of
yeah. Like I
yeah,
haven't, and then you hear, because part of it is the thing is the written music and the improvisation, that combination, and really find that common. And I tell people, and they don't. Yeah, but just your music is so you should do it. It's beautiful, but I haven't found that And the closest thing, if you improvise for 10 seconds and it's magical, that's what, not 5 minute solo that has a lot of energy and maybe it's really good, but that's not necessarily what I'm. It could be a short interweaving thing within a piece,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
how do you thread it? How do you combine it? How do so that's been my thing, try to
I know what
maybe
you
if I find that, go ahead.
I was just going to say one of my old favorite recordings, and I like to show my singers this, like in workshops. There's a John Scofield record, and Charlie Hayden's playing,
Oh,
and it's some song, and Sco takes a guitar solo, like the regular, guitar guitar solo.
right.
Has a kind of a personality, a lot of notes, but great, of course, because I love Sco. And
Sure,
then
sure.
it's Charlie Hayden's turn, and you know what he does? He plays whole notes, and it's perfect. It's
Yeah, yeah.
perfect because whatever, it's just so magical coming from that and then going to whole notes. It's just
Yeah,
great.
yeah. No, that's a good if you, kind of analogy or example
Yeah,
of what. Yeah, yeah. Well, that was he had a knack for that too.
yeah,
Just really playing melodically too.
yeah,
And yeah, no, he was one of my. I mean, again, one of my. Well, the whole Keith Jarrett thing to bring that it didn't take too long to bring him up, but his early bands and later band just was so uh, had a big part in our development. People that
yeah,
we hung out together and loved that music. And the concept.
yeah.
And I ended up playing with Paul Motion. For a couple
Oh
of years.
God, I love Paul Motion.
Yes, but that combination.
Yes.
And part of that is having a leader that did that was Keith Jarrett, who facilitated the whole thing in a sense. Guy
Yeah.
and knew who to get. It's like Miles knew, yeah, he could hear something and that would fit in. That was the beauty of, I mean, both those guys and other people. And how important putting a group, a band, or it could be two people, it could be,
Yeah.
you know, much larger.
Yeah. I've been producing Paul Chambers' son. He's a singer, and he's got this very natural, natural connection, right? And but yeah, so I've been listening to Paul Chambers just because we've been working on Pierre stuff, and I guess he was probably one of the greatest sidemen ever.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
people use, right? For these
yeah,
reasons that you're speaking of. Just kind of the perfect piece within the aesthetic universe of that particular project. Um, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting being like you're saying the leader facilitates and I've thought about that because when you see different bands, you see you see the different kind of manifestations, musical creative manifestations, and they can be so different with just one different person or uh, there's you're familiar with John Diversa.
a little bit. He's got the big band, right?
He's got the big band, which is wild and crazy, but he also has a small group, which is,
Uh-huh.
let's see, usually one, two, three, four, like five pieces, four or five pieces. And it's like orgasmic. It's so good. And there are the songs in it, and then it's, improvisation, but it's like that. He is a leader who facilitates. I love that word there, facilitates it. And I think it's because they know what he likes, and they all trust each other, So there's no rush to fill in space, and they're open for the development, the progression and the development of the piece within improvisation as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's and then because sometimes you'll have bands with Under One Sun. I was for the record, it was all my music, but as I say, Leo, the piano player Blanco, he has beautiful music. But on the gig, we would do a couple of his tunes, and that combination was great.
Yeah.
Sometimes people bring in, everybody brings in something, and it gets really, it's all probably good, but it
It
takes
loses
like,
its.
well, just that like the Keith Jarrett thing, or Miles putting together a band, or Sco putting together, his concept. He always, yeah, I was lucky enough to do one record with Sco, and it was a really great record.
Which one was it?
Groovelation.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's just and it's different, but it's so
Oh yeah.
hip. And
Yeah.
he came up with it. Just thinking because you mentioned Sco, there's other
Yeah.
people too, but uh, yeah, it it focuses. It
Yeah.
focuses. This is one person's idea of where the set should go. That's such
Yeah.
an important thing
Yeah.
to get people deciding. I like to put a set together and do that. I mean, I dig all the stuff that it takes. I just don't dig the leg work. Like, call me, I'll be there.
Yeah, right.
Because you got to do a lot these days. You have to do, especially the young folks. They have no, they have to do, to get known.
Yeah.
You know.
I know. It's a really interesting new world for musicians coming up. It's so interesting. I'm just intrigued by it every single day. Every single day I see something or talk to somebody or there's an organization called Jazz is Dead here.
Oh wow, really?
And the name is actually, to me, it's funny because of what they accomplish. It's basically just going, you know, F you, jazz is dead. It's not, at all. And
Yeah,
what they're
yeah.
doing is there are three younger musicians. They've formed a label and a production company and a management company, and they're actually not only do they have a band, but they and a label, but they are supporting older musicians, um,
Oh,
like in their 70s and 80s, like statesmen, and they're recording them, they're combining them with the younger people, they're putting creating events, they're putting them on tour. And check this out, the events and tours, the events are sold out, and the
hmm.
audience is mostly between 20 and 50.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, when I found that out, I was like, what? Actually, you can read about them on in Downbeat this last month. They have a, I think they're on the cover. They have a big
Okay. I'll look.
interview. It's it t- it really excites me because
Oh, it's not, and it's young. You're right. I mean, because I do the Vanguard every Monday,
yeah,
and I mean it's packed, and it's all age, but a lot of young people. And you go to Smalls, it's
yeah,
packed. People love, and jumping out. It's like a diving board off coming out of the lockdown.
yeah,
It's now people, they're ready to go out and do and
yeah,
ready to see, and that's the one thing that's going to keep music, the live thing.
yeah,
The live thing is you can't, I hope they keep always make kind of CDs or something where you could look at it and, you know, hold it up, and have, because I think as hip as it is, having iTunes and all that, and Spotify, it just things get lost. It's almost taken for granted. It's like it's an overkill of abundance.
yeah,
Abundance of you, you give it one listen and that may be it because that's enough. I don't know.
yeah. I was the Saturday. Um, my friend Dan and I went to a fundraiser for this thing called Just Jazz, and which is a series put on by a really good DJ, Leroy Downs. And anyway, it was from 12 to 5, and it was one band, one song, then, you know, another band, another song. I mean, and they were all like, you know, a huge portion of the LA kind of, especially younger generation coming up, you know, and it was pretty intense and mind blowing. It was great. It was awesome. And we just, you're right. The live thing is so important and wonderful to experience. And I don't know about the CDs though. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to last, but I hope they do. My husband
Well,
has
I
a
mean,
huge record
what-
collection, so he loves the records. But
yeah, I had, but you have to have good equipment to play it on, like really
yeah,
good equipment. I think I have some old, but yeah, no, I mean it's a minor point. Things are going to go on, things are going to change, but I just it's nice to lay with something and actually hold. I remember coming home with, in the car. I remember it, sitting in the front seat, going to some store and getting Love Supreme, and just already it was like, I mean, the stuff was flowing inside of me.
yeah,
I don't think I had ever heard any of that particular music before from that record.
yeah.
I knew about Train, but I knew, and it was exciting. I mean, yeah, I guess you press a button and get Spotify. That could be exciting too, but it's all good. Just I
I
don't know. It's just
You can put it on and on again, but yeah, there's nothing like, you know, putting the CD or the record in and
now.
sitting.
Do you ever see Mitch Foreman?
Yeah, I do actually. I we just sent messages back and forth yesterday because I've been reading that new book on
Wayne?
no, Michael Brecker.
Oh, okay, okay.
And he talked about a New Year's Eve gig with Mitchell Foreman and a few other people.
Wow.
That was really heavy. I think Jocko was on it, and can't remember everybody who was in it. But so I messaged Mitch. I was like, "What? That New Year's Eve? Are you serious?"
That's like one of the bass players going. Who was it? Gene Perla, maybe? Somebody told the story, but moved to LA. You know that story.
No, I
And
don't
he
know.
gets a call trying to break in. I think it was Gene Perla. If not Gene, I apologize. And we want you to come to Sinatra's house and play. I think it was just like his first gig or something in LA. And went, and it was great, and it was really good. But Mitch, we ended up doing a record, and then he ended up staying out in LA.
Yeah,
That's how, after this record we did, he left the New York people, said later for you guys, hanging with the LA
he's
folks.
funny, man. He's so good. Actually, so we worked at the same college for a while, and so I had I my job was to one of my jobs was to split my time up between classes, ensembles, right? Where there were a few singers and I, you know, direct them. So there was one ensemble and then there was another ensemble. And in this ensemble, everybody was learning kind of the very basic, you know, how to play jazz tunes and I mean they could play, but it was very basic stuff. And then I would go to Mitch's class and he'd be like rearranging and
Oh,
reharmonizing and
yeah,
and
yeah,
the kids were like, "Wow," you know. It was really interesting because literally it was 1 hour here and 1 hour there. So it was
yeah.
pretty
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, he's incredible. I mean, I miss him, seeing him, playing with him. He was really young when I first met, but just was like already like, and when he came up, a little slightly younger than I am, but it wasn't this vast amount of young people, not as much as now. So he
yeah.
really stood out, but just, could hand him a piece of music, a funky piece of music not written that well, and he would not only interpret it, he would uh like the way you wanted, but then he'd add his own thing. So he
Yeah.
knew how to, and there's people like I know shared that with people too, musicians, but that just to see it and then take it to another level and not, you know.
Yeah, that's
But
an
so there's more now. There's a bunch of people now, but he was first person one of the first people I met, and along with Kenny Warner too. Was like that. Kenny just take a piece and
yeah.
oh, that's what you wanted, yeah. But okay, how about this? And add your own thing and naturally add it. Just
Yeah.
have it happen naturally.
Yeah, I think that's
So
really an interesting thing about musicians. They have that or they have something else or they're able to be in the studio and read something immediately and make it gorgeous or yeah, there's a lot of interesting things like that. Um want to maybe play something like from maybe like from your site because your site has all these wonderful things on there. It has, wow, it has John Abercrombie and the Art of the Saxophone and Mel Lewis, the Vanguard. What should I listen to? Something
well, the
straight.
art of the saxophone was an interview we did, an hour interview. So
Oh,
so we don't have time for that.
okay.
Uh,
A
uh,
Vanguard or Mel Lewis.
Vanguard from years ago. My brother's on that too.
Which one?
Great
The
company.
Gary Samulian or the other one?
No, the Vanguard. But let me see what else you have. I don't know which.
Well, you're with John Abercrombie.
It says Joe though. Why does it say? Is that Joe Lavano?
This
We
one?
did.
Oh,
Yeah, I haven't seen. I guess somebody put these on my website. Maybe my daughter.
and then here's the Stan Getz tribute. Lyle. Wow. This um, there's so many things. I mean, I could go on YouTube and look as well.
Well, let me see. Go back. I'm glad you have the computer thing together. Uh,
So you and Gary Samulian, you played together.
well, we play every Monday at the Vanguard.
But what's this? This is saxophone
That's
mosaic.
his a record we did years ago. It's with the Vanguard saxophone section.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay.
Yeah. Uh,
The John. Did you play with John?
maybe the one on the maybe that one there you could try. It says Joe though. I mean, if it's Joe Lavano, we better even better.
Let's just see. Here, let me. I'm kind of looking. Oh, there
I
you
know
are. No.
yeah, that's it, I guess. We did the Montreal Jazz Festival. Whoops. Wow.
Oh, that
I
was.
never saw that. It's on my website, but I've never. I got to go back and look
Oh,
at
you're
that.
kidding. Wow,
Yeah,
that's cool.
that's fun. I remember we did one of the last things we did together was European tour. We did the Montreal Jazz Festival, and then John and I went to Canada. We did a week clinics and concerts
Oh,
together, he and I. So
yeah.
that's kind of the rhythm section, part of the rhythm section that I when I saw you at Birdland.
That's right. With Mark Copeland
Drew, yeah,
and
Drew Gress and
Brecker, Randy Brecker.
yeah, Randy, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was of course I wanted to see Lieb, but I was so happy to see you. It's like, oh wow, man, this is cool.
Yeah, it was such an honor to play and make the gig for him, for Dave, and play with all those beautiful players. You know.
Joey Barron and I go way back. We were in college together at Berkeley. And
So what year were you there? Because
72 to
I
75.
so I was there.
You were?
Yeah,
Oh wow.
I just ran into somebody outside the Vanguard. He said, "Who are you?" He was asking. He was driving by. Billy Drews. You remember me? He goes, "You were the cat up there." You know.
Oh my
Yeah, I was.
God.
Yeah, yeah. I went
I
70,
played flute. You were there 70?
70 to. I didn't graduate, but I was there because I played in the Herb Pomeroy's band for all the time I was there. You know, so
Yeah.
I and Phil Wilson's band,
Yeah.
and so yeah, it's funny. The last gig I had was with Herb Pomeroy, Alan Dawson,
Mm.
Ray Santisi, Whit Brown,
Oh boy.
and we played a week at some nice club downtown. And then I was gone the next week. I was in New York, but it was a nice way to end my stay in Boston.
That was a cool time. I was very young. I was under 21, I think. My dad was a sax player, and I had come up in Boston, and
Uh-huh.
I was a singer, but I played flute, and and who is Andy McGee? He
Andy
was
McGee,
he
yeah.
was my flute teacher, and I was just getting into being able to play, and then things changed, and I decided, for some reason, I decided I can't be a flute player and singer. I have to be one or the other.
Yeah,
And so
yeah, yeah,
I went
yeah.
into singing, but that was a really good time to be there. A lot of people were there, and it was small. I mean,
You
still
went,
wasn't tiny, but it was small.
it was small, yeah, and there were so many good well, that's where I met Schofield and
Yeah. Yeah.
Chip
Right.
Jackson and all these people, Alan Zavard, Abe Laborio.
Yeah. Yeah. Alan's comedy.
Abe was there. Abe was there at the time too.
Oh,
Abe Senior.
yeah. Right. Right.
You went for how long to what year?
72 to 75.
Okay. My wife went there too, but after me.
She did. What did she play?
She was a vocalist.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
Joan Johnson.
oh, I know her name. Yeah.
Yeah, well, she changed it to Drews.
Yeah, but I think did am I remembering correctly? Did she get on ECM?
No,
Okay,
no,
so
but she was
she
working a
was.
lot. She had her own bands and was quite successful in
I'm
both.
sure we I'm sure we crossed paths because her
Yeah,
name
yeah.
sounds so familiar. I'm gonna have to look her up and listen to her. Is she still singing?
Yeah, well, she's writing now, writing these beautiful
Oh,
choir pieces.
oh,
Just incredible, really beautiful pieces, and they're starting to get a little play, and so it's nice.
that's really great.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't know her up there, but we met in New York.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man. At that time, the women there were probably like, 20% of the people.
I
So
20. I don't think it was. Well, maybe later, but
we had a
who
lot of
was it? The
attention.
piano player, Vicky Von Epps. I remember her name. Remember that name?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
She was a good pianist. I don't know what she's doing, but she was stood. There weren't too many women.
No.
Maybe maybe
I,
20 in my class.
yeah, I think
Which I'm glad.
basically
I'm
that
glad
was.
that changed.
I remember there was a workshop that where Charlie Mingus came. Uh,
Charlie Mingus.
yeah.
Wow.
And what was his name? Herb. Is that his name? The trombone player who was a really good educator. Uh,
Not Phil Wilson.
no, the other guy. I
Tony Latta.
No. Anyway, there was some really good things that I got out of that. I mean, my dad was a sax player. I came up with that, and that was how I really got into music and jazz. But when I went to Berkeley, I was old enough to um, kind of create my own interests, and find out who I really liked and liked
Right,
to
right.
listen to.
Sure.
And that was such a rich time in Boston. Um, the Woodstock had been happening, and Motown had been happening, and then Weather Report started really happening
Right,
and all
right.
that stuff. So it was pretty exciting, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Well, plus there were gigs too.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
we not that it's great gig for a woman, but the strip joints. It was a great. I mean, it's kind of detriment. It's kind of not a great thing.
At the
But it
time,
was a
it was fine though.
no, but it was a great gig. Every
Yeah.
every club every club had a Hammond organ and a drum set. So I would play drums sometimes or trios because you didn't need it. You had the Hammond played bass. So you just trios and it was a hip
Oh,
gig. I don't
did
know
you
what it paid.
did you
75 bucks.
did you play with John Novello?
The name is familiar, but
He did that at that time. He was doing the strip clubs on
well,
B3.
there were a bunch of. What did he play? Organ?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe I did. I should know the name though. Maybe I did. I apologize if I forget the name.
That's okay.
To,
I
to
won't tell.
John. Don't tell. Well, now it's all over.
Of course, it's all over the internet now.
Yeah, right. John, love you.
Okay, so sometimes this happens. I don't really follow a particular script, but I would like to know how you came up and how you got into music, and did you get into jazz immediately? That kind of stuff.
Well, my dad, who wasn't a musician for a livelihood, even though when he was younger he did some gigs, uh, but he played piano and he took maybe two lessons, but he was natural. He could entertain a party, knew all the old tunes, maybe not all the hippest changes, but you knew it was the tune. He and had all this flourishing, like and so he played, and that was enough right there, and my parents were into it. They were encouraging, which is nice. Uh, so my brother was an integral part of who I am. He great trumpet player, still is playing in New York. Still does a show every night. And he's done a million other things plus that. He used to be in the Vanguard Orchestra too for years. So so having him as a role model in a sense, and someone to play with, was like, okay, what instrument are you going to take? So, well, I'll take the clarinet, like, So that, even at that time when we got a little older, after maybe 4 years of playing, we got together, like you hear like, probably not as much as the Breckers
Yeah.
and around the Philly area got, wasn't that massive probably because I hear a lot of stories about them really having. But it was good. There were some good players, and we got together and sat in, with the schlockiest thing that we could, just to play with people live, for no bread and
Yeah.
things like that, and did gigs. And the school system was excellent, it was really great school system, really good teachers that were supportive in many ways of the music, went out of their way and actually lost to the point they might have lost their gig. The one person in particular, he became an administrator later, but had wings built on for humanitarian, for music, and ended up, you know, getting fired, I think. Uh, but they put their butt on the line for what they believed in. And I had a great teacher, Barry Titone, who was a player. He was a player, did gigs. So we were lucky for that. And my brother had a great trumpet teacher, and
Was this in New York?
in Long Island, yeah,
Long Island, okay.
where I live now.
Yeah.
Uh, so all those things, and there was a neighbor who lives close to me. He's not there anymore, but and his dad owned a music store, and he was into jazz. So between that, it just, you know, I remember in elementary school the Beatles, who I love, really dig now, but at the time I was felt more like a rebel. I don't want to listen to that. Yeah. But now, you kind of get it. You get what it's all about a little more. It takes time sometimes to see things.
Yeah.
But we were into that music, and that's kind of the beginning. And then there were orchestral programs that my dad, you got to play in an orchestra, so we both played in different community orchestras and band concerts during the summer. I'm just reminiscing. I hadn't thought about that stuff for a while, but so there was things where you were playing, when you were getting to see what could be, what was possible to be a musician, possibly. Wow, and and school wasn't, it did okay, but it wasn't excelling in math or anything. I like science, but so yeah, music. I mean, I thought when I first started to play, I wrote a little arrangement on some tune, and in third grade or fourth grade, started in the summer of third grade, after third grade. So I really count my blessings for all that, to having things gone pretty nicely, pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
Uh, a charming life, just a blessed life.
Yeah.
Uh, Probably could have made better decision, here or there. Could have went down a different path, maybe worked a little harder, uh, to attain something more. What we talked about, you could always, there's so much more,
Yeah.
Not that more is more always, but more, the more knowledge you have, you could just let it slide by or use it from time to, but it's there, it's part of your palette.
I was speaking yesterday with a quartet, four women actually, and they're called the Aesthesis Quartet, and
Hmm.
the trio and a flutist, whatever, however you pronounce it.
Yeah, right, here we go again.
Not sure, but um, led by, well, not led. There, a friend of mine is the drummer, Tina Raymond, who's really wonderful, and the pianist is Dawn Clement. I don't know if you know her. She's from
Oh,
Seattle.
oh, yeah, I know. I don't know her, but I know. Yeah, who that is.
Quite good. Her comping is like, yeah, really, really
Oh,
good.
beautiful.
So, but we were talking and we were talking about, they're super busy too. They are like really ensconced in the university world, which, as you know, is just pretty intense. And and so we were just talking about um, how over the years, how do you how I guess how do you keep focused and keep pushing yourself to do more and create, because there's moments where you get tired, and but as you say, what you just said, like that you've been blessed, it seems like it sounds like, but of course, this is why I ask these questions. It sounds like your path was kind of there and you saw it and you were on it and you just kept walking on the path. But there must have been times that were challenging where you thought, oh boy, you know, and how do you reinvent or bring up again the creative desire to keep going forward?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, there was very few times where I felt that like just because I was lucky. We moved from Boston. In Boston, just I had a band with different people wrote and kind of was hitting a little bit
Yeah.
and ended up doing I knew Gary Burton, so ended up doing a Carnegie Hall concert with him, and then shortly before I moved down. And New York, it just kind of smoothed it. Actually got into the studio scene for about a half a year with all the heavy, just I don't know. Then it kind of, for me, it kind of was drying up anyway. But I didn't do a lot of that after some.
Yeah.
But and then play with people like Eddie Palmieri and did a lot of Latin gigs, which were there. So there was always, and then still said, well, maybe I should go back to started still doing some club dates, which is to make to even out the bread thing.
Yeah.
So, but they were there. That was a gig anyway. Sometimes they were a little depressing, not
Yeah.
depressing, but it's like, oh boy. But then I realized, well, look, I could have played better on that gig, even though it was a GB gig, whatever you call it.
Yeah. GB. Wow. Yeah.
GB.
I remember that.
But I then I started going, I could have played better. Who am I?
Uh-huh.
If I'm not going to take the gig, that's one thing, but you could always add something or learn something from. I remember being on a gig. The guy could transpose anything,
Yeah.
and I transposed some, but he could, and he knew every tune. And I went, wow, this guy, he's doing these gigs, but he's a heavy guy in a sense,
Yeah.
or girl, I forget. So I remember once in New York, we always had great pads, and we had a loft in Chelsea for a couple
Uh,
of years.
yeah.
Beautiful, huge loft with some friends, like Keith O'Quinn and Dennis Irwin lived there for a little bit, and Steve Slagle and
Huh.
Joe Lavano would hang. He'd stay there like he was there, hang a bunch, but a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I remember one summer everybody left for some reason. I was there alone and in the city, not too many gigs. I remember somebody gave me some BB cigarette, those Turkish ones, and I'm like walking around the city. I never, that was about to quit my smoking, but and I'm thinking, oh man, get, a little questioning. Boy, I hope this, but you kept at it. Everybody got back in town, and it was cool. So, yeah, but to keep it going, well, now, as I said earlier, I told a student to write like a piece.
Yeah.
So last night, I try to do that every week. Give the assignment and do the assignment.
Yeah.
And this way I just write it real quick as long as it might be, and that's really nice, you know. And not everybody does that. Not that you should do it once you do that, but for me, it really works, you know. And it shows the work ethic. Well, this guy's doing it.
Yeah.
The guy that was supposedly my teacher, you
Yeah.
know, he's doing the work also. So I think I like doing that, you know, as an example of, you know, try to keep in there, you
Okay, so you said supposedly my teacher.
know.
So
Well,
I
because
guess I
I'm
can
learning
see your
too, you
point
know.
of view
Yeah,
about teacher.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, we know we're leading people and we're helping people, but really they're teaching us too, right?
Yeah, yeah, you work, and that's the way I like to approach it too, you know.
Yeah.
That's what somebody said. De Goat said the other night. He said, "I tell my students, I want you to put me out of business, you know." And I said, "Well, I don't think that'll happen, you know." But he said, "Well, that's what I, you know, like you got to take the reins, you know,
Yeah.
and because that's natural. That's just life, you know.
Yeah.
You have, if you want to keep life going, you got to take the reins and do what you got to do. You know what I'm talking about?
You do you teach now in a university?
I teach at NYU.
Okay. My slave is bringing me coffee. Thank you, slave.
Oh, okay, I'll take a cup.
I really appreciate it. Look at that, a big cup of coffee.
Oh man, I stopped coffee like
You
about 8 months
did? Oh
ago.
my God.
Yeah, I don't know why. I only had it once a day, but I'm okay though. I'm all right. I
After
have
the
a little
first
tea
few
here.
days, right?
No, I was all right. Because I wasn't like crazy. I didn't overindulge, you know.
Yeah.
But I would teach. Like last semester, I had a 12-hour day straight, no break. And people do that, you know. People working with a jackhammer do that, you know. Not 12 hours, but they work their butt off, you know.
Yeah.
So it's not that, but just to stay focused, you know, you get different people coming in, different
Yeah.
needs,
Yeah.
different levels, and what did I get, you know? And then I would have a smoothie in the morning and not eat, and then I'd have this strong cup of coffee, and it wasn't helping my stomach, you know. I don't think,
Yeah.
you know, because not eat, you got to eat a little too, you know. So
I have
that's how it came about.
I've rediscovered mate, which
Oh yeah.
I've had in Argentina, and yeah, I got the real stuff, and it's really nice because there's caffeine in it, but it's not like a coffee caffeine. It's
No, no,
really
no.
it's even, you know. It's very
Yeah,
nice.
well, it's a green tea, basically,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, off of a green tea. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's really nice. So yeah, you work at NYU and 12-hour days.
Well, this year I would have done it, but I couldn't. I had to put two students on Monday before the Vanguard. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, long day, but it's great. It's a great atmosphere, and I teach an improv class, which is kind of fun. Like on Thursdays, like tomorrow I'll do that, and
When you say you teach an improv class, do you teach um I'm just curious, do you teach theory in it or do you teach more or it's probably everything like
yeah,
perspective?
it's not. I say it's not really an ensemble. It's not really a composition class. It's not really a harmony class. But
Yeah.
we're gonna touch on stuff. I have them write stuff. I have them play things. I write things. Uh, you know, I do all just whatever comes. I try to improvise to a certain extent, not follow a regimen. I have a syllabus, but kind of follow a little bit things that I'd like to do during the semester.
Yeah.
But everybody seems to like it. I try to really make it interesting and try to bring out this creative side of people and bring people together.
Yeah.
That's what that's like. People are like that have it. They say, "Man, we got a band together now," because I make them play and hear and play with each other, but not like an ensemble. But let's try this, let's try that, and then everybody hears everybody, and they then have them writings. A bunch of folks never wrote. I said, I never wrote a piece of music in my life, and now I'm writing now. So that's the kind of things.
That's cool. I want to be in your class.
Oh, that'd be great. It's fun. You know, I went around the other day and had like a because I was trying to get, you know, I said talk about ideas, let's say a quote solo, which I never really like to think of it as solo. It, it's a group thing, whether you're playing with two, three, four, five again. But it's not just about that, but integrated in with all the other musicians, or artists, visual artists that you're working with, or dancers. Try to really connect. So how do you get to point A to point B, if you will? How do you get to this phrase to the next? And sometimes it's a little disjointed,
Yeah.
with all of us.
Yeah.
Uh, Myself, you want to make it really light. And a lot of times it's about playing melodically, because people say just play melodies. Well, what does that mean? So I did a thing talking like about conversation. I started the conversation and passed it over, and then I had different parameters where you get it and you continue on, then you immediately change to another thing, and then hand it to someone else. And it's fun. Then we played some off of that, and it affects you.
It does.
I often tell a story about another. I remember doing kind of it was years ago. It was like a excellent like club band. They did uh, the vocalist. She did her own music. It was really good band. Really, really good players. The pianist played trumpet and keyboard, so he played. And it's a story I'll just share with you because about the teach kind of things. And I was playing. I never really got into video games, but there was one that was there. I must have spent about $10 in the old days. That was a lot, of quarters. And I played this game. You couldn't get stuck in the middle of these boxes, whatever it was. And doing that gig, usually I feel like I'd play kind of almost the same solo. I solo a lot, but on each tune, it would be very similar, the way I approached it, which can be a strength too.
Yeah.
But after playing this game, I went up to play and I couldn't replicate in any sense of the way what I had been used to playing. Everything was different.
Huh.
So in my mind, what it did, it rewired my brain
Mm.
playing this game.
Yeah.
Now everything was wow. This line I usually go here, but I'm going here now. I'm going up. I mean, not that I had a written solo, but
It was
just the way
perspective.
the
Yeah.
rhythms had changed, the direction, the lines had changed, melodically it had changed some. So it was a lesson. And I always point out to you, try to make notes of these road signs.
Yeah.
Wow, that happened. Like you were saying earlier, little dwarfs. They're probably there. We don't see them all the time,
Right.
or whatever it is. There's some stuff going on.
Yeah.
You know.
That's great.
So,
A friend of mine is a man named Stephen Nachmanovich. He
uh,
wrote he wrote a book called Free Play, Improvisation in Life and the Arts.
oh,
And
well,
he wrote that about 25 years ago. Interestingly enough, right around when Kenny Werner wrote his first book. And then last year, both of them came out with a second book, which was kind of interesting to me. But anyway, because they were both kind of Bible-like. And anyway, so I had brought Stephen out here for some workshops, and brought him up to Idlewild because I was teaching up there at the time. So he's an improvisational violinist, and he's just his whole life is about improvisation, and so they brought it was interdisciplinary, and so they brought all the kids on the stage, and he's so funny. He stands there to start the workshop, and he doesn't say a word. He just smiles, looks around, just you know, this is this moment in time. He's looking around. So these kids, even though they go to school together, they're not because it's interdisciplinary. You know, the guitar player doesn't really know the dancers or whatever. So, after whatever it was, several minutes of nothing, somebody starts playing, and then somebody starts dancing and somebody starts talking and he instigated relationships. And, that along with being okay to be in the moment, you know, and not even do anything. And it was a really wonderful, it was wonderful to observe. Great. Just so, both how he taught and how the students reacted. It was just great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I visualize that when you were describing it.
Yeah.
Well, I had my, it kind of got lost, like the last 2 semesters, it hasn't happened, but for years, a couple of years, I had what I called a orchestral improvisational ensemble. And we play as an orchestra. We'd create no music, sometimes I wrote music if it was
I
wandering.
love that concept. Woo!
Oh, it was really beautiful. And then when it first started, I said, let's import stuff, musicians from the classical department. So we had, at one point, I had a string quartet, and they said, "Well, Mr. Drew, we never did this."
That's
I
okay.
said, "Look, just create. Your ears. You played unbelievable music in your repertoire. I know." I said, "Just don't play any excerpts verbatim.
Yeah.
Like you know." And they got so into it. I had a trombone and an oboist, and that was at its prime. And not to play, and even if it was a piano, bass, and drums, don't. I love jazz. I love tipping, but that's not what this is about. You tip it in a different way. If you're going to play a Latin groove, think of classical Latin composer like the one, what's his name? Villalobos.
Okay. Yeah.
Think maybe along those terms, if anything.
Yeah.
Not like that, not verbatim, but how they would approach it. Somebody like that.
Yeah.
So, but it hasn't happened because you kind of have to have played. I think the criteria is good if you know how to play two tunes really well, and then you could leave it. You leave it almost. So it hasn't happened, but it's really fun.
That's great. Some of that has happened in LA over the years. Vinny Golia, I don't know if you know him.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know him, but I know who it is. Yeah,
He's brilliant along those lines. He's done
yeah.
so much along that line. And I was in the audience on one of those orchestras, huge, like large group, and people were obviously just, he might look at a look at a section and then they go, okay. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
fascinating and really satisfying to hear.
yeah.
It was really
I mean,
good.
the only thing is to sometimes the energy could be replaced with because they say, "Oh, Billy, we want to take your free ensemble." So let's not call it that because the connotations of jazz, ding, 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 for 10 minutes, which
Yeah.
is again great. I mean, boom, 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 boom,
Yeah, yeah.
but that's not what this is about. There was speaking about teaching improvisation. The great David Darling, you know him?
No, I don't.
Cellist. He passed away. He used to play with Paul Winter Consort, among other things.
Uh-huh.
And he had a teaching concept, and we used to play together. And he had years ago he put together. We were doing something for the Nikolai Dance Company. We were
Uh,
recording music, so they played live at City Center. They played the music, not live, but with live dancers,
yeah.
and it was pre-recorded. And it was a whole orchestra and just improvisation, and it was great. And he was good like that. He really had a beautiful thing. And he also had an improvisation concept teaching. That's different.
Very
Not
exciting.
really specific. Yeah, because the thing is, improvisation doesn't have to be jazz. Improvisation is
Yeah.
improvisation. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be in a certain genre. It could be open.
Yeah. I have a vocal group called Fish to Birds, which we got the name from an Escher painting.
Oh wow, yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so we've been together about 9 years, and it's basically 6 or 7 people, and we have some forms that we have found that work, like, I might start what we call a motor and keep that going, and then somebody else comes in with something contra but fitting, things like that. But as far as that's all it is as far as planning goes, and it's great. And it's not, I wouldn't call it jazz.
Right, good.
because it's
No,
whatever it is,
it puts it in a box, it
Yeah,
puts it
yeah.
in a box then,
But it's really fun. It's great. Oh my God, I love
But
I love it.
when you said someone else comes up with another thing, that's what I had. If somebody said, "What's the ensemble about?" I said, "Well, it's about counterpoint on all levels, harmonically, texturally,
Yeah,
melodically, harmonically. Well, let's think counterpuntally.
yeah,
Even sound. If you're going you're going doop, 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 ah. You know what I mean? And that's two people, and it's rhythmic. It's pulse, and
yeah.
we've done a lot. We had groups, always had groups that did. We recorded a couple records, and they're just there's a record that we had a group called Wood, and somebody just called. We made a CD years ago, and somebody just said we want to reissue part of it. So
Oh,
I'm getting together tomorrow and seeing if they can
oh,
use it. So we'll see. That was fun. I just played clarinet and hand drum, violin, acoustic guitar, and what did I say? Violin. Oh, bass, acoustic bass. So that was a fun group.
nice. I have to play Louisa with Cliff Corman because Louisa is one of my favorite songs.
Oh, okay, okay.
My friend Dan posted these. Thank you, Dan. That's nice of you to do.
You
And
can't turn my audio up, right? Of not none of you speaking of the. If you don't, that's all right. I have it.
what do you mean? The sound, the music?
Yeah, I didn't hear the music too well, but that don't go through any changes. Leave that
Well,
instead.
I will turn it up more, but I think this is it. I
Yeah,
think
no,
on
I'll
your
leave it.
yeah, you might turn up your volume or something.
Yeah, your voice is perfect, so let's not mess with
Okay.
it.
I hope it's loud enough.
This was from a live gig, so
Okay. Definitely one of my favorite songs.
oh, it's beautiful, right?
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Ah, wow. Mhm. Oh my God.
Wow, what a tune.
Oh my God, you guys, that was unbelievable. I'm going to listen to that over and over
I
and
have to listen. It's been, I think I listened to it when it first came out. I haven't, wow, it's nice to revisit that. Thank you.
that was incredible. That was really, truly incredible. Wow.
We kind of put that together pretty quick. It was a whole set. It was a, I forget the club, Rouge, where it was. It was nice. And then I had to go to run to another gig.
That
But
was that was mind-blowing in so many ways. First of all, I know this song really well. I sang
right, right.
so and I think the song is such an incredible masterpiece that,
Yeah.
of composition. It's just incredible. And the lyrics are beautiful and everything about the song is really beautiful. But you guys just I mean and his intro and his
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, Cliff is
yeah.
beautiful. He's a student and a person that passes on the music, that all that music to other people, brings an awareness to a greater audience. Cliff is really beautiful. He's tremendous. I
Wow.
miss him too. He's in Brazil,
Oh, really?
for years now, in Rio.
Oh.
So I miss seeing it. We used to play a lot. I miss him too.
Wow, he must be I mean, I don't know when that was, but he must be really ensconced in the Brazilian
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
music.
He played with Astrud and I think and flute player Herbie Mann, you know,
Oh,
which I don't know how much he knew the music that well, but he played it. Herbie Mann presented that music and made it possible. A lot of that music. I don't know about this tune, but
I have to change my fan setting.
oh, that's crucial.
Yeah, I think my husband turned down the air conditioning. So off, fast, and medium. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, good,
Or
good.
maybe
I'm
that
glad
song
you.
just got me super hot.
I think that's it. Yeah, that was beautiful. Plus
Your
the
tone.
lighting was nice.
Oh, yeah. Your tone is so gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was playing alto there, so that's.
It's funny, when I first heard Sam Most, his tone was similar. It was kind of very breathy and real beautiful. I had known about Sam Most, I guess, through my dad
Uh-huh.
before I came out to LA, and then
Hmm.
when I heard him live, I was totally in love with it. It was really beautiful. But yeah, your tone is gorgeous, really.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, tone is kind of important, I think.
Yeah.
Or how, it could even be angry tone, but as long as it's meant to be that,
Yeah.
when it's delivered, then
I think I was reading about it in the Brecker book too, about um, you know, let's see. They said that tone, okay, you have these little reeds. Oh, it probably was because they were talking about Michael on this one gig just throwing out reed after reed after
Right,
reed.
right.
He wasn't satisfied with his tone. But but it's like from your body too through the reed. But the sax is always the sax, right? The sax doesn't change. It doesn't
Yeah,
breathe.
but it's the air that it's the breath that makes the sound and how it's distributed
Yeah,
through this thing,
yeah,
you know. And what you're hearing.
yeah,
I created probably a terrible embouchure, but I got there because what I was going for, I guess, you know.
yeah,
My cheek goes out a little.
yeah,
I never realized, you probably know Harvey Wineapple, right?
yeah.
So he came to some gig. He said, "Man, you look like you have an egg." I said, "What do you mean?" I never even realized it, you know. But I was going for a sound. Probably didn't create the best embouchure, but that's along the way some hazards, some minefields. I'll take it.
He is a minefield, yeah. I know. I'm always thinking about that stuff. I practice every day, and yeah, I'm always thinking about that, listening to different singers and how, not just jazz singers, just what what they come up with for as their sound that they like, that they're expressing. I think it really boils down, especially for singer, because we have lyrics as well, to just kind of honest communication, coming from you, and that's why it's such a head trip being a singer. It's like you got to get to the honesty part like very immediately,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
otherwise you have not, you're just a pretty face, basically. You
Well,
know?
I guess you got to think about, I mean, how your structure is going to give you sort of a sound, but it's how you distribute it, you know.
Yeah,
It's funny I don't know, this record we did at my house, it came out on Sunnyside.
yeah.
Uh, I actually have it here, which are a lot of my tunes for which it stands. And the
Uh,
last tune is this ballad, and I said we need to get somebody to sing it. Maybe I'd love to have Tom Waits, but it was done at my house. I said that's not probably going to happen. I don't have that kind of bread, you know. But so I said, well, you sing it because I sang it at the rehearsal. So I ended up doing it, and realizing, oh, and it's a short little tune, and realizing, the diction, the breath, the changing from falsetto. I would say a word, and go, oh my God, that's not the right. I have to read. I mean, it was it. You come to realize how heavy it is, and it's funny because that tune. I was just thinking we just did a record. I don't know 4 or 5 months ago with this pianist from London, Barry Green, and
yeah.
Rudy Royston played on it. Beautiful drummer, really. I had never played with him. It's beautiful. And he said, "I want to do that tune again," and he brought in another singer. Thank goodness. And she sang it. It's a little. I was thinking initially more of a male thing, but she did beautiful. We kind of redid it, so that's coming out.
And what is it called again?
That's a. Well, let me. It's a two-part thing, but sorry. I guess the tune's called "For Which It Stands." It's the title of the record.
Okay.
It was a statement for. It was while it was a good. Well, I'm not gonna get into politics, but it wasn't this administration.
Uh-huh.
I'm
Right.
going to say that much. But still, there was some questionable things, and it was about a calling out, like to
Yeah.
for the rights of people,
Yeah.
and that was the basic thing, and some civility, and just noticing everybody for who they are, basically.
Yeah, I understand.
But it was a kind of good, and I wrote some lyrics, and they came out really quick, so
That's
that's
cool.
another.
Can you
Yeah, really.
can you
What's
recite?
that?
Could you tell us the lyrics?
I I think it's on here. Well, the first question is a little come to find out it could be misinterpreted because this country particularly, they're showing the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
they Burn, what's his name?
Ken Burns.
Ken Burns.
Yeah,
Sorry,
my husband's been
and
a lot.
and it's heavy. As many times as you
It
see it,
is.
it's and what was done in this country was not very good. It was a model for Hitler.
Yeah.
Come to find out, I didn't realize. I learned a couple things that I kind of went over my head. Oh, well, maybe because it's a new thing and they revisiting things.
Yeah.
But this country was not a great model. So the first question, the first line doesn't really totally make sense because some people will go, it wasn't very good. But for which it stands, is this the way that things used to be in our country? I think maybe not. Pardon my fears and tears for the lonely, not only alone with unneeded hardships and unmended fences. I believe that some folks care, daring to give honest answers to blue shirts and dancers. We are all one. And blue shirts meaning you couldn't it didn't fit white collar. So I said, blue or white.
I got that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because so, but the first one is yeah. Is this the things that used? Is this the way that things used to be in our country? Yeah, it was a lot of questionable times. But I was referring to some other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously people going through strife, and it will always be the case, I guess. But we're in a difficult spot now.
We're
Where
in a really strange. I mean, I'm sure there were, I'm sure people going through, 200 years ago, whatever, however many years ago, people went through, huge crap, right? Just, I mean, mind-blowing stuff. And now we're aware of so many of the pieces because of the internet and, you can really see a lot. And, but it just feels like it is crazy right now. What did Ernie Watts? he said, we're at the 11th hour.
well, I have always had this concept. When you drive up you, you're you may be going up a hill. You're going
Yeah,
well. You're going up a hill, but you're actually the altitude is changing. You're going down. The altitude is going down, but
yeah.
for a moment you're going uphill, and the same with you're going down,
But the altitude's
but
getting,
the altitude is going up.
yeah,
So, but and that's what's kind of happening. It's things will get. It'll all things need to come out. I guess
yeah,
things need to come out to heal.
yeah.
Really bad. Hopefully, I guess that's the optimistic way to look at it, possibly. But I think it might be the case. But people are going to get hurt along the way, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah.
Poor souls.
I do see a
But
lot,
that, yeah, go ahead.
I see a lot of action towards that. There's a lot of different groups. Um, I like to watch spiritual stuff like Eckhart Tolle and
Right.
people like that. And there's a group, Trauma Healing, and they've been around a long time. I'm sorry, I don't remember the guy's name. Very cool guy to listen to, and but it's trauma healing, for
Yeah.
human beings where we all have had trauma, and so I I would like to believe positively that there are things going on now, like you say, things going on right now that are taking the covers off of stuff so that you can see the crap and then heal it, because there really is no, we can't just go on not looking, you know.
No, no. And some folks don't want to uncover that.
Yeah,
They don't want to. No, there was no problem. Oh, yeah. Well, that's why watching this series again I mean, it's actually hard. I mean, just
it is.
indiscriminately, well, 30,000 just shot
Yeah,
here. 30,000 Jews it starts to, 30, 20,000 here, 15 here. And then in Russia, I didn't realize that was going on. Just, it's,
Yeah, the last thing I watched last night was on the Polish, and they were just gathering people, and they had
You're right,
the death houses. They
right.
were just
That's yeah.
gathering them and bringing them and just killing them, and it's just hard to imagine how the soldiers were even thinking.
I I I said that. How could you? How could nobody question it?
I mean, they were soldiers. They probably would get shot or killed themselves,
Yeah.
but
But the good news, Germany has are taking in a lot of refugees, and I think they really coming around and realizing and try to make it right. That's all we could do.
yeah,
But it's painful. But you have to know about it.
yeah, yeah,
And we knew about it. I mean, I knew about all that stuff too, but now it's just you see other things, you see new revelations, and
yeah. And bringing us back to our music and creation, and we are capable of healing. You know,
right,
and so that force in us that's a creative desire is also connected to that.
yeah, yeah. I was uh, I was just thinking because I watched one. I said, let me just see what you do, and it happened. I said, let me. I knew about Mark Isham. I didn't, so I watched a little of your interview. It was really great.
That was a good interview.
And then well, because it was a guy that was melding his stuff together, and coming from jazz, but became a composer, and not
Yeah,
became a composer, but
yeah,
And I was thinking I had a chance. It was the only show I ever did in New York. I got a call from David Torn, the
yeah.
guitarist. He said, "Hey, we're getting together with Mark Isham and Bill Bruford.
Oh, wow.
You want to get together? Come up to maybe it was Woodstock." I said, "Man, it's the only show I ever had. There were previews for 2 weeks. I can't get out." And I thought about that. Oh man, the show ended within 2 weeks. It was over, and that was so I thought about that. I just went, but that was an interesting show. And I'm sure you had a lot more. I didn't look at any other ones.
Well, I mean, yeah, like this show, this particular one with you is nice. We didn't start like at the very beginning, kind of got into that a little later, and we just started like talking about what's happening and our points of view and music. And
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I just,
yeah.
I really like that. Yeah, I think, people listening really want to, um, sit on the shoulders of creative people and see what life is like and what perspective is like and realize that, oh yeah, I think like that, or this is meaningful to me, or oh, I love that, or it's like bringing us together and getting us involved. So I mean, your number 469.
Oh my God, just a little pebble in the whole thing. No, well, I appreciate it. I'm honored to be here. I thank you for having me.
Well, it's so nice when I heard you play. It was great, and then the little hang afterwards, and I looked in your eyes, and I was like, "Oh man, he's so cool. I want to talk to him more."
Oh, good. I'm glad we did. I'm glad we did. Or doing. Not that we're done. Like
Well, we're
we're,
almost done here,
we're almost done. Yeah.
and then of course, you're friends with Joey Barron, so any friend of Joey Barron's is a friend of mine.
Yeah. Joey Barron is. I mean, he makes it so easy. We once did a trio. It's actually documented
Huh.
with Joe Lavano. It was Joe's gig with Joe Lavano, me, and Joey.
Wow.
Almost all improvisation at the Knitting Factory,
Ooh.
and some gentleman from Japan has it recorded. I have it on a something VCR or something. I don't even know. But when Joey would play, both Joeys, so easy to play with,
Yeah.
you know. And I think we created some music, but Joey would play. We'd be playing, and I'd start laughing because it would feel so good. No bass, just he and I, or Joe and two Joeys. And it would feel so good.
Oh, definitely got to watch
This
that.
I don't know if it ever comes out.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I love his spirit. And, well, I first met him at Berkeley.
Oh.
Yeah, because he and Herb Pomeroy's recording band, who I was in, for
Yeah.
years, which was great. Herb Pomeroy was,
You're talking about Joey Barron?
yeah, and
Yeah, because he was
Ted
there when
Sieb,
I was there too.
yeah, Ted Siebes was the drummer, who was
Oh,
from Arkansas, Little Rock, I think, friends with Clintons. No, I don't know, but he was the drummer. Had to do something that night for the last gig that we did because we did a lot of stuff,
yeah.
and this young kid came in, 17, and just lit. I don't know if he could read that well. I don't know whatever, but it was just little guy smile, long hair at the time, and just that was it. That was it. Wow. You know, beautiful, Joey
Great to have a
Barron.
spirit like that, right? On board.
Yeah,
That was kind of like um, Billy, the world stage. I love Billy Higgins.
Billy
God,
Higgins. Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah,
like that too, right? He was just like
yeah, yeah,
light up the room, man.
yeah, yeah. And you
Universe.
feel it in the music. You feel it in the playing. I remember seeing Joey on a TV show. It was like again, just happened to be a name came up twice. Philip Glass. It was on
Ah.
some late night show, and Joey's in the back playing snare drum. Smile. I go playing this music, this repetitive music, having a ball. Just you're there, do have a ball with it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I've got I remember experiences with drummers that could hardly play, but they kept a solid beat, and you could have went, oh boy, this is like, but just let it go. He's playing a strong beat. It, I remember it's fun. It's fun. It's always positivity goes a long way.
Yeah.
And then when you go work on it at home, then you work on that separate than the performance or
Yeah.
the hit. The
I
hit
have,
is just
I have a young student who's 15, and whew, that concept of having fun and not caring so much, it's a hard concept to get across to her. She's not particularly a rebel, so it's like,
yeah.
well,
Well, just have the tools, and
yeah,
I often say, if you're gonna weed the garden or get your garden ready to sow, or seed, I mean, uh, you probably need a hoe or something like that. You need some tools, and then you seed it, and it germinates. The idea germinates, and there you go. Allah, you know.
there it is. Before we go, can you, is there anything that people in your area could come see you at, or?
Oh, that's a good question. There's a bunch of little gigs out, but I mean, mainly things have got so disorientated, from this lockdown.
Yeah,
I mean, the one safe place is the Vanguard, every Monday.
Mondays. Yeah,
That, and then gigs come and go,
yeah.
hopefully some record release, but it's like less record release hangs. It used to be when somebody put out a record, it was a couple record release parties or
Yeah.
concerts. Uh,
Hey, one question I wanted to ask you.
yeah, please.
Have you worked with Jay Clayton?
I haven't. I haven't.
Oh, wow. I would have thought that you guys would have had some gigs together because she's very
She
improvisational.
was there that night, right?
Yeah,
At the
yeah, she and I.
right, 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 right. I guess she was doing with Ed Newmeister. They were doing some stuff together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe Gary Versace, maybe.
Um, well, he was, let's see.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, no, I think he was with Ed. He played with Ed, and she definitely knows Gary too, um, but I don't know what they were. I don't know exactly what the band was, who the band.
Gary's on this record for which it stands too.
Oh, cool. He's
If you
one.
get a minute, listen to it. Listen to the
Yeah,
vocal, and you could hear what I was talking about.
I'll listen.
No, force yourself.
I'll definitely listen. Well,
Uh,
this week is kind of an unusual week for me. I have a friend I'm going to interview tomorrow from 10 to 12 instead of 12 to 2.
oh, oh.
A singer from Minneapolis named Connie Olson. And then Friday, a drummer who you probably know, Matt Wilson.
Oh, say hi. Matt'll be interesting.
Yeah.
He,
So,
he's talk about positivity. He'll go with some elementary school kid. Man, he'll say, "Man, these kids, I want to record them, man. You should hear what they, just." And he probably sees that again, that little dwarf in the corner. He sees something and is positive about it. But
yeah,
yeah, that's great. That's great. That's
yeah.
beautiful. Say hi.
I will. And have a great day. Thank you so much for giving me your time. It's really nice of you.
Oh, it was nice of you to have me. I appreciate. Sorry, I got off to getting hooked up. As I say, I was a little rusty. Well, it was all right. It was the wrong date, so at
It
least
was
we figured it.
totally fun.
My daughter came over and said, "Dad, it's the wrong date." And we
That was
fixed it.
that was just like, my little elf in the corner messing around.
Yeah, always.
It's just,
Well, thank you, Kathy. Thank you.
thanks, Billy. It was really pleasant, beautiful. And yeah, I'm gonna be listening to Louisa over and over again. That's
Yeah,
just
yeah. I'm glad you because I don't listen to stuff. I said, "Well, put that on. Try this." I remember that was nice. Try to put that on.
yeah.
But yeah, keep making music too.
Thank you. I will.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Anytime. If you're in New York, maybe I'll see you, or vice versa.
Okay. Bye.
Okay.